Hello everybody, my name is Gonçalo, also known as Crash, and I'm here to present you Rick Dangerous, an amazing platform game developed in 1989 by Core Design for several platforms, and you are seeing right now the Amiga version, which I think is the best one to show. This game was published by Micropro Soccer in America and Rainbird Software in the rest of the world. First of all, let me give you a small glimpse of what you will see in this incredible game. Dangerous indigenous of the Amazon jungle with several traps to protect themselves from you. You will go on a trip to Egypt, where you will face all kinds of enemies and traps like snakes, crazy religious fanatics, and even mummies. And even infiltrate on a Nazi castle stronghold to save some Allied prisoners. And on a secret missile base denounced to him by prisoners he has saved on the castle, trying to avoid an attack to London. You will find everything in this amazing single-player platform game, which was one of my favorites of all time. I even use it in my presentations about game development sometimes. I will provide you in this game review a perfect gameplay, also with no live slots, and catching all the prizes for you to know how to play this game and what traps to avoid, and how to catch some prizes that would seem impossible to catch for some. I will provide you a perfect gameplay video without any voice, also in the video description or at the end of this video. This is a game that is still loved 30 years after it was first released, and with dozens of clones and remakes, because it was really one of the most famous games of all times, and people really love it. Me too, you can't imagine the memories I have spending days playing this game. And it has a sequel, Rick Dangerous 2, but I will share that on another video later. It's kind of a trial and error game, because it has so many traps, with several of them invisible and with no alerts whatsoever, and even others hidden behind fake prizes, that you will end up losing lives and memorizing them to avoid them on the following games. So it has a lot of trial and error. In the end, you will have the entire levels memorized without noticing. Its plot is largely based on the Raiders of the Lost Ark Indiana Jones movie. Set in 1945, Rick Dangerous is a British agent that travels to the Amazon jungle to search for the lost Gulu tribe, at least at this game's first level. His plane crashes in the jungle, and Rick must escape from the enraged Gulu, and the first level starts with him in a cave running away from a rolling boulder, a famous scene from the Indiana Jones movie. On the second level, he does a trip to Egypt, and the level is played inside a pyramid located in Egypt, of course, a level full of religious fanatics, and the level is played inside one of the famous Egyptian pyramids, a level full of religious fanatics, snakes, traps, and even mummies, which is, in my point of view, probably the most pretty level in terms of graphics, and probably the most funny one also. On the third level, Rick infiltrates himself into the Nazi stronghold of Schwarzendampf Castle to rescue some Allied prisoners, and at the fourth level, something similar but this time into a secret missile base to avoid an attack to London. A secret missile base that he was told about by the Allied prisoners he saved on the third level. At the end of the game, you get a hint about the plot of its sequel, Rick Dangerous 2. Its controls are very simple. You have the regular left and right controls, then the up key, which allows you to jump or even climb some walls or ladders, and a down key, which allows you not only to climb your way down some walls and ladders, but also to crouch to fit and pass through some tunnels in certain levels. You will have also a fire key, which can be used in two ways. If you press the fire key and then, without releasing it, press the up key, you will shoot a bullet with your fire gun, of course, against your enemy on the direction you're turned to. If you press the fire key and then, without releasing it, press the down key, you will light a dynamite, and in that case you have to run away fast if you don't want to be blown away by it. There is even a third way to use the fire key. If you press it and then, without releasing it, press the left or right key, you will be able to paralyze your enemy with a pogo stick. That is very useful when you want to blow up an enemy using dynamite, because if you don't do it, the enemy may not be over the dynamite to be blown away at the time of the explosion. So the trick is to paralyze him, as you can see me doing in this video, and then press fire and down keys to put the dynamite, paralyze him again to make sure he won't run away before the dynamite explodes, and run away fast. You can even do some incredible stuff with the dynamite and the pogo stick. I have one or two parts in this video in which I use the stick to immobilize 3 enemies at the same time, while I light the dynamite and see them being blown away to bits at the same time. Which means I've killed 3 enemies at the same time with a single dynamite. This comes from great practice. You will be able to do it also if you train a lot. I can't forget to tell you that killing an enemy with a bullet will only give you 50 points, while killing one with a dynamite would give you 100 points, because it is harder to do. Because it is harder to kill them with dynamites than with bullets. Did you see how I've just killed 3 of them at the same time with a single stick of dynamite? Amazing, right? So I've been able to make 300 points with a single dynamite stick sometimes. Amazing, no? And also, you can use the dynamite to blow up some rocks or blocks, and use the stick to activate some switches in the game, usually marked at the stones in which they are. You must be careful when exploding blocks because some of them fly towards the explosion, potentially killing Rick in the backfire. You can also use those traps to kill your enemies. You just need to hit a switch or even stand up when near a trap that you know will fire a dart against you, or even lead your enemies into a trap. And this would give you only 50 points anyway, which is unfair sometimes, as sometimes we need to risk a lot to make them go into a certain direction. But these traps can be used to our advantage in the game, especially when we end our munitions or want to save it for the future parts of each level. You will start the game with 6 bullets, 6 dynamite sticks, and 6 lives. You will be able to catch some munition from time to time, a box of bullets or dynamite, but you will have to manage your munition very well in certain levels. You will be able to earn some lives from time to time also. There is a cheat on the Amiga version, which is to type Pooky, P-O-O-K-Y, on the score screen to start on the last level in which you have played. Something I didn't need to use to make this gameplay and game review video. As I've told you before, this game was developed by Core Design and has as a coder or computer programmer Simon Phipps, who told that he would never imagine this game would be so famous and talked about 30 years later, although he loves the game also and has amazing memories of it. You will find on the description of this video the link to his website, in which he shows several scans of the original design notes from early 1988, lots of stories, and even very cool trivia and cool stuff about the making of this game. Don't forget to check it out later. From there, I've learned, for example, that the scream Rick Dangerous does when he loses, that characteristic "wah" sound effect, came from his own voice, something I've done myself in the past also when developing computer games in C++. He has told on his website that he has spent half an hour making those ridiculous noises for the game, recording them on a cassette machine, and ended up picking up the funniest of them. The design of this game is also very cool, made by not only Simon Phipps but also Terry Lloyd, Rob Toon and Bob Churchill, later used to create this game's graphic by Terry Lloyd and Simon Phipps himself. About the game design, I think it's amazing, even being so simple. Its playability is great, although several persons say it is too hard, but I think it's perfect just like it is, in my point of view. It is really perfect, and the Scotch look of this game's characters was inspired by the ZX Spectrum game Joy Blade and the Argentinian cartoonist Guillermo Mordillo's art. The screen was 32 characters wide on all formats, even on Amiga and Atari ST versions, with 8 blocks wide by 6 blocks high screen architecture, each block composed by 16 tiles, 4x4, each one being of a character size. So they used these 256 pixels wide on all machines to save time on the game development at the time. And those sprites on all games were 24 pixels wide by 21 pixels high, which was a restriction on the Commodore 64 sprites, again a time-saving technique. This will make you find the game very similar to all versions. But of course, the Amiga version in terms of sound and color is the best one for me. And by the way, as I'm talking about sound, the music was made by Dave Pridmore. The game has a very short amount of music, but they serve their purpose well, and fit on the game perfectly. I remember myself as a teenager waiting around 5 minutes for the game to load in my old ZX Spectrum machine, and have some memories of me going to the kitchen, making some tea, putting some sugar on it, and going to the backyard to see the nightfall, waiting for the game to enter, and then running to the living room to play it when I heard it would have already been loaded. I have very fond memories of those times in this game. This game has in its 4 levels 74 different enemies and trap types, which is amazing, can you imagine that? Nevertheless, this game took only 4 months to create. You can check a lot of this trivia on Simon Phipps' website. This game is really one of the best 2D platforms ever, and that's why 30 years later it is still being talked about and having clones being made all the time. It was a game that has left its mark in a generation. I hope you enjoyed this game as much as I've enjoyed, not only in my childhood but also as an adult. Play it because you won't regret it. I have a video in which I teach you how to install WinUAE to emulate these Amiga games. So you can just install WinUAE and download this game's ADF file and you will be ready to play it. But don't forget you will find links for the complete long plays at this video's description. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If so, put a like in my video, comment it if you have any nice memories to share about this game, share my video and subscribe my channel for more future game reviews. See you in my next video. Goodbye.